Hello and welcome to Reality TV Cringe. I am one of your hosts, Delia, here with my real-tight homegirl and my daughter-in-law, Beatrice.
Hi.
We are here to talk sister wives. Honey, this is the last rewind episode that we're going to be doing before the return of Season 19, Sister Wives, with I think maybe 5 actual episodes and then a slew of tell nothings.
Yep.
And so we're going to put our foot into it tonight. We're going to discuss these browns and have a lot of fun. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Thanks.
Now, before we get into it, we do have to issue you a disclaimer, baby. Please hide your wife and hide your kids. This is a politically incorrect podcast that does not talk politics whatsoever.
Period.
We're just two dumb broads on the internet. We have stupid, unpopular opinions, and we're not embarrassed about it. And so if you're
Get out of here.
you might want to find yourself another dumpster.
Bye.
But if you're ready to go on a brown marriage retreat in Sedona, Arizona, welcome to this dumpster.
And if you like what we do over here and how objectively stupid we are,
Hello.
please go follow us on Instagram at Reality TV Cringe and join us on Patreon, patreon.com/Reality TV Cringe. That's where the real party is at. Okay.
Yes, we are wrapping up couples therapy. We are very invested.
We love it.
And we're also wrapping up 1,000-pound best friends. We feel really connected to them.
Oh, we do.
I feel like I resemble them, and so do you.
Me
and
too.
so that's how I relate to them.
Yeah.
We have so much fun with that. So join us on Patreon. We would love to have you there.
Yeah.
And finally, for you all watching on YouTube, thank you for being here. Please do not forget to like and comment and share and subscribe as we make our trek, our journey. We've hired a Sherpa and we're headed to the summit of 6,000 subscribers.
We are at 5.1 now. We're at the foothills.
Oh my God, the foothills, but
Yeah.
we're there, honey.
Yeah, we are.
We're in the general
We're starting it.
vicinity.
Yep.
And so anything you can do will help us. And so thank you in advance.
Thank you.
Now, before we get into this rewind recap, there was some news
Yes.
that was dropped today
Yes.
about Coyote Pass, honey. Why don't you tell the people about it?
Well, apparently all of the plots on Coyote Pass have sold,
Wow.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
And you had dropped this in our chat, and I didn't even see this, but apparently it was sold to a couple,
Yes.
but it doesn't say who it was.
Yeah, it is not Robin and Cody, though.
Thank God.
It is some other couple. I think that one of them is an actual broker. So there may be an intent to develop this land, which I know Cody wanted to do, but of course he didn't do because he never follows through
Of course not.
with anything.
Mhm.
But it is a couple.
Yeah, and apparently they profited total
Yes.
from all 4 plots being sold. They profited $610,000.
Yes, because they purchased all of the plots on Coyote Pass for I think a total of like $830,000. With the sale of these 4 plots in the year of our Lord 2025, I think it's like a $1.5 million sale.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's like a $610,000 profit or something like that, which means each individual gets, I can't do math,
$152,000 allegedly. That's
Right.
if they split it evenly.
which I think they will.
I hope so.
I think according to the ownership records, they'll have to.
Let's hope so.
But like then Mary and Janelle are going to have to pay their attorneys.
Right.
I assume Cody and Robin also had to acquire attorneys and will have to pay that. They'll have to pay like taxes. I know like when you sell your home, you have to pay capital gains taxes or you have to roll it over into the next purchase. And so because Cody and Robin have already purchased their new McMansion, I think that means they're going to have to be taxed on the sale of this property.
Oh, God.
And it also doesn't take into consideration the amount of taxes they were paying each year
Right.
that they held this land, which I would assume came out of the family LLC. And I think Nikki Haverstock reported that it was like 16 or $17,000 a year in property taxes. Can that be?
I mean,
that is a ton.
Well, for all of that land.
Yeah, I guess
I mean,
so.
it's a lot. Yeah. So it makes sense.
And I think they've had it for like 9 years.
Something like that.
8 years. They've had it for quite some time.
Yeah.
So like if it's, let's round up to 20,000 and they've had it for 8 or 9 years, like they've paid a lot out just in the property taxes. So, I mean, I'm wondering how much profit they actually make, but at least Mary and Janelle are getting something.
Well, and it seems like it's officially done.
Mm-hmm.
So thank God we don't have to hear about Coyote Pass next season. Oh my God, I'm so over it.
But of course we are. Well, that's my question to you. Do we think that they're going to wrap up the sale of Coyote Pass in these final 5 or whatever episodes of season 19? Or are we going to have to address the whole dang thing in season 20?
That's what I'm worried about. I mean, if we don't wrap it up this season, we probably will talk about it next season. I just hope that it's not for the entire season 20.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's literally all of this like back and forth and lawsuits and all this stuff, I mean, yeah, it's interesting, but like it's annoying to get it a year or 2 later after it already happened. It would be nice to wrap a bow on it now and get it done with. Maybe we'll talk about it in the Tell Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Doubt.
I doubt it. Because like the sales were final yesterday or today. And I don't know if you've got an outsider who's purchasing the property, whether they would be willing to time the drop of that sale or the announcement of that sale like perfectly with the release of the second half of this season.
Man?
It feels like this is about around the time when they actually did sell the property and close on it.
Right.
So I honestly think we're going to get it in season 20.
God.
I think we're also going to get Ada Farms. I think we're going to get Christine and her second Airbnb, and I hope we'll get some of the lawsuit stuff and the book stuff from Christine. But I think we're going to be with Coyote Pass for quite some time.
I'm so tired of hearing about
Unfortunately.
it. Well, speaking of Ada Farms, apparently Madison, I think, posted on Instagram today. I guess they're having problems with permitting with the farm and like starting a garden. So her and her husband have to like do their garden in their backyard at their house, because they can't do anything with Ada Farms because of permitting issues. And I'm just like, so you bought all of this property and then like didn't know about the permitting issues? Like, I don't know.
Why wouldn't you have checked that out before you purchased this particular property? Maybe it's just like a regulation that this is something that they have to go through and it's just going to take some time and then they will get it. Are you saying that they're never going to get the permits?
Well, no. Allegedly, she commented to somebody and said that they knew that they were going to have to get permits, which is fine, but they just didn't know it was going to take this long and be this complicated. So in true Brown fashion, not thinking anything through.
Just barreling in.
And just going in head first with no knowledge into this. And it's a little bit difficult. So I hope that they get it all figured out, because that would be really terrible if they bought all of this acreage and bought this whole farm.
And they can't develop it.
And they can't do anything with it. That would be wild. But they're literally tearing up their whole backyard and turning it into a tree farm. And like turning
Caleb
it into
and
like,
Maddie's home, their little colonial house, their little acreage there.
They're making it a huge giant
making
garden.
it into a tree farm,
I guess, or like a garden. I don't know.
Gosh.
But they like plowed the entire thing, removed all of the grass, which I mean is cool. But I'm like,
wow,
okay,
wow, I did not know that. That's very interesting as well.
Yeah,
you've got your raccoon finger on the pulse. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
Awesome. All right, is there anything else that we need to discuss before we get into the rewind recap?
I don't think so. This episode was lit this week.
There was so much here. We were eating the trash and it was good.
So delicious.
Again, we are on season 6. I think this was episode 10, entitled
Polygamist Marriage Therapy.
We meet Nancy, the therapist. We go to Sedona.
Yes.
There's this little thing with Leon and going to Westminster, which we'll also talk about. But yeah, the whole thing was very revealing and I can't wait to get into it. Start us off, Beatrice!
It was juicy. We got right into it with like a little bit of a counseling session with Nancy right off the bat. It's kind of like their first interaction with her, because they used to have a therapist in Utah named Pat that they saw for like 5 years, and she was really great apparently, but now that they're in Nevada, they can't see Pat because she doesn't practice in Nevada. So Pat found Nancy for the Browns, but she's never worked with a polygamist family before. Shocker.
Which makes Robin very suspicious, and she just feels unsafe.
It's very unsafe.
I don't know, because we're polygamists here.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's a little nervous about it.
That was so annoying this whole episode.
Yeah.
Her talking about how she can't trust the therapist because they don't know polygamy. I'm like, you barely know polygamy.
Right. You've only been living polygamy here for a couple of years,
Yep.
even though I guess your mom was a mistress or something like
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
Like, she's also so judgmental of this monogamist therapist who I feel is showing up in good faith and really wants to help the family.
Yeah.
And she's just like, well, I don't know if I can trust her. She's got a long way to go to earn my trust. I'm like, okay, Robin, but you expect everybody at the expos, though, to accept you and to be okay with your lifestyle, but you have such a hard time with Nancy's. Make it make sense.
It's because Nancy's a therapist and would actually dive into the root issues of everybody in the family, and Robin doesn't want that exposed.
No.
Because she's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
She's the problem. But it's interesting because they open the episode talking about like how a lot of polygamous families don't actually seek therapy because they're worried about the therapists pointing to polygamy as the issue and the root cause of all of the family's dysfunction, which it's like, it is.
Yeah.
Objectively, it is. But they saw Pat for many years. They really liked her. She helped a lot with the family, apparently. And so now they're starting things with Nancy, and Nancy starts off with a personality test.
Well, before we get there, it does sound like when Mary is providing context around Pat, that it was Cody and Mary together that originally went to Pat for therapy so that they could learn how to communicate with one another because they were having issues in their particular union. And then at some point, it sounds like, I mean, I'm inferring that they then started to bring in Christine and Janelle and the whole family unit, but it was Mary and Cody that went in with the initial issue.
That's what the subtext was. It was very interesting. They didn't really talk about that, but we're sniffing that.
Yes.
For sure. And then they also, like Cody mentions how a lot of therapists are feminists.
Yeah.
And how feminists don't like their lifestyle.
Because it exploits and abuses women.
Hello.
Yeah, that's why.
Very interesting.
So he's a little concerned about that. But back to the personality test. And like the only thing I'm thinking about as I'm watching this is how Robin said last season or whenever it was that she never took a personality test. And if somebody took a personality test, they did it on her behalf without her permission. And here we have her in season 6 in the therapy session with her own pad of paper and pen, taking that damn personality test.
I know. And literally reading aloud some of the questions on the personality test with everybody else in the room. Like, it's documented.
Right.
Robin, you a liar.
Right.
And then Cody says something really interesting here, and he echoes this throughout the episode where he talks about his worries with Nancy and how he's worried that Nancy will say that he's the only one that has to self-improve and none of these other wives need to do anything to improve themselves. He's worried that he'll have to do all of the work or he'll be pointed out to do all the work.
What did you think of that?
That was total narc behavior because I feel like he probably was called out in other therapy sessions, but then he like works this around in his mind thinking like, well, but it's not just me though. It's everybody else. And like, yeah, that's true on its surface. Like, yeah, it does take two to tango. It's not just Cody. Like the wives do have to kind of give their effort, of course. But I feel like in Cody's brain, he's interpreting that as like, I don't have to improve though.
Yeah, it did come across that way. But to me, it kind of felt like this was him mask off saying something like, I don't want to do all of this work. I'm getting super tired of having to manage all of these wives and all of their petty relationships and how they cannot get along with each other. They all come to me. They expect me to be the middle person to mediate their issues. And I don't want to do that anymore. I'm getting tired, which is exactly what he's saying, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
In season 16, 17, 18, and 19. He's over it. He's done with it. But we can take it all the way back to season 6 because previous to this, when they're getting into the cul-de-sacs and when they're renting the homes and they're in Lehigh, we don't really hear him say this. He seems more than happy to try and manage his relationships, but something has happened is what I think I'm trying to get to. Like the way Mary is so close to tears throughout the entire episode, the way that Robin is showing up kind of angry and super protective and shielding Cody from any criticism. I'm like, what's going on here?
Yes.
Like, I think there's some fighting that's taking place between Mary and Robin and Janelle and Christine. I'm not sure how that's happening, but something is happening. Did you get that vibe too?
Oh, totally. And I totally got the vibe that Cody was like getting tired of having to manage all of this and getting tired of having to be the common denominator. And even talks about that later in the episode. We'll get there when we have everybody positioned in the orbit of Cody. But yeah, it was really interesting to kind of hear him talk about this. Like, he doesn't want to have to manage the relationships. He doesn't want to have to do all of the emotional heavy lifting because he feels like he has to do all of that in the family, which I'm just like, dude, you can't have it both ways. Like, it's crazy how he's saying all this in season 6. And then in season 16, 17, 18, 19, he's like bitching about having to be the patriarch and like needing control and how they don't let him have control. So it's like, what do you want? Do you want to be the patriarch of the family? Do you want everybody to obey you? Or do you not want to have to do all that work? Just step back and let the women fight each other and deal with it.
I mean, I feel like there's a portion of what he is saying that is valid. I feel like there's a lot of infighting with the women. And I think that he doesn't know how to mediate that. He doesn't know how to control that. And he's just getting tired of it because nothing that he's trying is working. I think from my intuition that a lot of this stems around Mary and Mary's fundamental inability to communicate in a way that is not brutal, which we'll get back to when we talk about the personality test, because in it, it is revealed that she is a truth teller. And it's very important to her that they operate in truth, but that she may have a shadow aspect that causes her to speak the truth in a way that is unkind and maybe even ostracizing and isolating to others, which I think is very true of Mary and also, by the way, Leon. I think they both share that personality trait. And so I think Cody has spent at this point 25 years trying to figure out Mary's emotional compass and trying to sift through her communication to find what she's really trying to say underneath all the bluster and potential abuse that comes along with her communication. And I think Mary at this point, this is just what I'm picking up, has heard a lot of this feedback, which is why we have a Mary at this point who's constantly walls up.
Yeah.
Or this is stupid.
Right.
I don't know if it's safe for me to actually tell you how I feel. And I struggle a lot. And she even says, I struggle a lot figuring out how to say the thing in a way that's not going to offend somebody else, which means she's been offending people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's also like in a family of people who don't want to tell the truth. Like people who don't say how they really feel, don't actually share their real opinions. Like most of the time it's passive aggressive crap. Like even Cody doesn't know how to communicate and he talks about that in therapy. He's like, yeah, I struggle with communication. I need to improve on that. So I kind of feel for Mary a little bit in this episode of like being somebody who is prone to wanting to tell the truth, but like can't seem to ever get it out in a way where somebody isn't offended. And then she has all of these relationships and personalities that she has to contend with. Like maybe she says something in a way that offends Janelle, but is receptive to Christine, like vice versa. And then dealing with Cody on top of that. So I don't know. There's like too many personalities at play here. It was interesting that in the personality test, we only got to hear Mary's results.
Right.
Would have loved to hear everybody else's results.
Me as well. Yes.
That would have been very interesting.
Yes.
But before we get to the results of that and the rest of the therapy, we have this like one little section with Leon and talking about college because they really want to go to Westminster. It's their dream college. And UNLV is not an option for that. Only Westminster, which is like a super expensive school. It's out of state. The family's broke AF and can't really afford to send Leon to Westminster. But Leon got a couple scholarships, so they're going to try to
But for only like $10,000
Exactly.
a year. And I think as of 2024, according to Nikki Haverstock, 1 year at Westminster was like $50,000 a year.
Which is crazy.
So for 4 years, you're talking $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they continue to get scholarships or how that's going to work out. I do know that here in season 19, we have Mary saying that it was actually her that ends up paying for Leon's tuition. And it sounds like Mary pays the totality of that tuition. So it doesn't seem like the family comes out of their pocket at all for Leon, which was very interesting. And when Mary is talking to Cody and Leon is off at the side, Mary says a couple of very interesting things. First and foremost is like, well, Cody, you're not around. Like, Leon and I have been trying to workshop this. We've been looking for scholarships. We've been talking about loans, but you're never here. So you haven't been privy to these conversations. So you don't know what's possible because we don't ever see you. That was the first thing that I thought was really very interesting. The second thing was Mary says that she doesn't even know how much the family is paying for Logan to go to UNLV.
Yeah.
Like they haven't actually sat down at that big Mormon conference table where they have their My Sister Wives Closet design discussions. They haven't actually sat down at that table to talk about how much they're going to have to put towards Logan's 4-year college education. And we also have Aspen coming up going to school. We have McKelty talking about going to design school.
Yeah,
we've got a lot of these kids going off to college, and y'all haven't sat down and had the conversation about how much the family is going to be contributing. That was just so strange to me.
That was so bizarre. And I'm just like, Mary, why don't you figure it out? Like, you can literally go talk to Janelle, who's the family accountant, and you can look at what is being allocated for Logan's college and like how that's going about. But like, no, nobody talks to each other. Nobody communicates anything. And even Mary is having these conversations without Cody there, talking to Leon and saying, yeah, I really want you to go to Westminster. So she's not really getting approval or any kind of input from Cody, which I can only imagine makes him feel like he's not really a part of their family. And granted, like that's also on Cody too. I'm not copying for him. It's just interesting how you're already seeing this breakdown in communication and breakdown in family dynamics where like Cody's just not involved. And like Cody is trying to have a realistic conversation with Mary and Leon, being like, yeah, I don't know if having a second job through school, Leon, is going to be a realistic thing for you because you need to study. You're going to school for pre-medicine. And like, it's also not going to make a dent in this $50,000 a year tuition. And with your loans and everything, like, I just don't think it's going to be enough. And, you know, our finances are tight because we just spent all of this money on this cul-de-sac and all of this crap. Like, I don't think we can really afford this, is basically what he's trying to say. And Mary's like, well, but I want to do everything that we can to get Leon to go to Westminster.
Yes. And Leon's like, well, this is my only option and I'm not compromising at all.
So spoiled.
Very, very, very spoiled.
So fucking spoiled.
I was resenting that quite a bit. And I could actually have like some sympathy for Cody's position here. And he's like, and I don't want to take out a bunch of loans, you know, for $120,000 or $150,000 for your 4-year education at the time in 2014, 2015 or whatever it was. Because like, I want to have a retirement. I've got 17 other kids that I've got to support. It's not just about you. But of course, the way that Mary has raised Leon, it's like Leon does not have an expectation that they cannot get exactly what it is that they want.
Exactly. And that's what's so crazy, because in such a giant family, you have Leon, who's so spoiled, in my opinion, like such a spoiled little brat. Like they get literally whatever they want all the time. And it's because Mary allows that. Like when I was growing up, I had 3 sisters and 2 of them were older than me. And so they got the best things first. And then I got the scraps basically. But like one of my oldest stepsisters got to go to college, got to study abroad in France, of all places. And so my stepdad ended up having to take all of these loans out. And he was kind of bitter about that because my stepsister flunked in France. And so
God, no.
had an extra year. So a lot of student loans because of my stepsister. So she kind of ruined it for the rest of us. So when I got to college age, I'm like, I want to go study abroad. And like, I was a good student. I would have aced it. But I'm like, I want to go study in Greece or something. And my stepdad was like, no, you're going to go to community college. And, you know, granted, I'm thankful for that because I have no student loans. Like, community college was so affordable. Yes. I have my associate's degree and no debt, thank God. And it's great. So I'm very happy about that. But that was the conversation that we had because my stepsister already took out all of those loans and made all those mistakes. So like the fact that Leon gets to go to Westminster after the family is like totally tight with money, and like Mary ends up taking out all of that debt on herself. I wonder if she still has those student loans or if she was able to pay any of them off. But if she's still paying off the loans for Leon and Leon doesn't have to take any of that, I'm just like, wow.
And was Leon ever pre-med?
No, I don't think so.
They're speaking about it like it now in season 6 that they're going to be pre-med, but I think Leon ends up like as a LCSW.
I think so. Social worker.
I think that's what's coming. I don't know how you're going to be able to pay back $200,000 in university loans as a social worker, but like they probably don't have to worry about it when they've got Mary,
exactly,
their mother, that's doing the LuLaRoe and making all this money. That's probably why Mary got into like multiple MLMs the way that she did, because she's got to fund Leon. She's got her budget, but Cody was really quick to tell her to come out of that budget and pay for all of this yourself,
which is crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, I really, really wish there was some transparency at this time in the process so we would know how much Logan is receiving from the family LLC and how much Janelle is actually taking out of her grocery fund so she can send Logan off to school, and then Maddie, and how this all works, but we don't know.
No, we'll never know.
And I'm shocked that Mary doesn't know either.
I know.
That's wild to me. That she has no idea how much Logan is receiving from the family.
I'm like, you are in your 40s. You should be aware of like what's happening. But because of the way they like structure their family and how the women are all independent, which is great, like nobody really shares their own financial situation with each other, but then you have the family pot. Like, it's so messy.
Yes.
It's so awful. And then at the end of this conversation, Cody gets up and leaves, doesn't hug Mary, doesn't hug Leon, doesn't even say I love you. He's like, okay, I gotta go, bye.
Kind of slams the door.
Yeah.
I think he's frustrated. I think he has been kept out of a lot of these discussions, but at the same time, he hasn't made the effort to come on over and have those discussions.
Exactly.
And so now you really don't have any power, Cody, to tell these two people what they need to do in order to send Leon to college. So just get on.
Like if you were more present, if you were more present, then you would not be upset, but you're not privy to any of the conversations because you're at Robin's.
Right.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
And then we have Cody, very excited, but also very nervous to give out his beautiful jewelry designs that he made for each one of his wives.
Oh my God, I can't wait to talk about this.
Oh my God, it was so cringe.
He wants to give them out before they actually make their trek to Sedona and dig deep into the marriage counseling. So he wants to give his wives these gifts that he loosely designed, but then somebody else had to do the rest of the design and actually create and manufacture this for him. So he takes these gift bags over and we go through the presentation process. Mary gets her necklace first.
Of course.
The Fidelis necklace, which was going to be a dog, apparently.
It was
going to be a golden retriever. That's what Cody's original idea was.
Yeah.
She seems to like it.
Yeah, everyone seems to like it.
Then we get Janelle and her tree, her bum-ass tree.
But she loves it.
She seems to respond to it. And then we get the effed up phoenix for Robin. It is so ugly.
It is so bad.
It's truly the worst. And she loves it.
Fake loves it.
And then we get to Christine.
Oh my God. She couldn't even fake it. She's
No.
just like, yeah, it's nice.
She had a hook face, as we say in Hawaii. She couldn't even put a smile on her face. She was not grateful. She was not nice about it. It was really immature and very rude. I mean, my husband, I've been with him for many, many years. He has gotten me a ton of gifts. Like that first Christmas we talked about, honey, where all he got me were Tibetan singing bowls. And I had like 7 presents under the tree. They were all singing bowls, attuned to the chakra system. And I'm just like, okay, that's great and all. But was it my favorite gift?
No.
Absolutely not. But was I grateful?
Sure.
Yes, I was. Well, by the 7th one.
Yeah,
I was like,
you're kind of upset.
This isn't another singing bowl, is it?
And that was all you got.
That's all I got. And when I tell you, I went to town on their Christmas. Oh my God. And his in particular. I got him an Xbox One. I got him like a couple of really nice guns. I got him other electronics. I got him like a crossbow and a flamethrower. Like when I tell you I got this man everything he could have dreamed of and more. And I just sat there with my singing bowls. But I at least had the decency to put a smile on my face. It was our first Christmas together. He didn't know how to be with a person really.
Yeah.
And so he had a lot to learn. But I was nice about it.
Yeah.
Christine couldn't even smile. I felt she was so rude.
Total. I agree. And like at the same time, I also understand why she didn't like it because it was so ugly.
It was
All these
ugly.
Necklaces were awful. But like, I think this was a reaction to like their marriage. Like, I think she looked at this necklace and was like, wow, this man doesn't even know me. Like, everybody else maybe had things that were like symbolic of their love and stuff. Like, even Robin's, like, Cody describes it to her on the couch. Like, yeah, it's about a song that we both like, and it's about Phoenix rising, and now you're like this beautiful goddess out of the flames of your divorce.
Wow.
Like, literally, like, all of this stuff. And then Christine's is just a pixie on a heart with some etching. Like, I get why she would hate it, but at the same time, her reaction was totally immature, especially in front of all the other ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Robin's necklace was objectively the ugliest.
Absolutely.
It was absolutely awful.
100%.
I mean, it doesn't even look like a phoenix, but even she was like, oh my God, I love it. This is beautiful. Like, she faked it in front of all the other wives. Like, Christine could have done that.
I think Christine's issue with the necklace was the etched side of it, which she does say, but also it represents the dark side of the moon.
Yeah.
It represents the shadow aspect of this pixie being that Cody sees her to be. And even when he was designing it and talking about it with the manufacturers, he's like, well, but she's a fairy that can bite.
Yeah.
She will maul you. She will nip at you. And so I want to actually reflect that as well in this design. And so I think maybe her actual issue was with the shadow, with the darkness within herself. She didn't really want that to be reflected in his design, but it was.
Yep.
But she could have found a more mature way to discuss that instead of just pouting in front of the other women. It was just like really ridiculous to me.
I know. I'm like, you could talk about that privately in your 5 hours that you get to have with him later in the week instead of doing it on camera in front of everybody else. It was so awkward. Like, I could feel the tension and the awkwardness on my TV from back in that time. Like, it was so bad, but I also loved it.
Yeah. It was great though. It was fantastic.
So good. And it was so good to see Cody like flounder and be like, no, it's okay. I still love you.
And I'll just continue to create necklaces for you until we land on the one that you really love, which he never does again. He's never going to try this again. It is over.
Oh, totally. It was delicious.
Yeah.
And then we have the old counselor, Pat, coming over like before the Browns go to their Sedona marriage retreat. I guess Pat is going to accompany them to Sedona because she wants to help Nancy
who's never dealt with Polygamist before.
I guess. But whatever. Pat comes over and acts like she's a part of the family. She's like talking to each of the wives, gives them all hugs.
What an odd duck she is.
I know.
She's a bit of an odd duck.
Yeah.
But she seems to like the Browns.
She's giving me lesbian vibes a little bit too.
Just a little. She has a big old rock on her finger, and I'm sure she's in a big old Mormon marriage, but I'm just wondering about that as well.
I wonder if she's married to another Pat or something.
No, I bet she's not. I bet it's a repressed lesbianic vibe.
In my dream.
I feel bad. Pat,
I don't
get
feel
out
bad.
there.
I know. But anyway, she comes over. She kind of talks about how she's been the family therapist for the last 5 years. She talks about how the Browns are a little dysfunctional sometimes.
Just a little.
But they're overall great. They love each other. And then Mary talks about how she's still trying to figure out who she is. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, even back in 2012, 2013, like, you're still figuring out. Like, how long is it going to take? You're talking about that now in 2025.
Well, but I feel like this is such a critical moment in time for Mary because Liana's about to leave the roost.
Yeah, Cody's not blinking her.
She's going to be an empty nester. She had her ring melted down to hoodie.
Yeah.
She's alone in that big old mansion in the cul-de-sac. Nobody comes to call and nobody cares about her. And so she's trying to figure out her position and her place in the family. And I also just got the impression that she felt like an emotional connection with Pat.
Yeah,
like
lesbian lovers.
Oh my God.
Just kidding, sorry.
Now that you say it though.
I know, I'm just saying.
It makes perfect sense.
Maybe she had a crush.
But I feel like maybe Pat helped Mary and Cody in particular get through some very rough things.
Totally, yeah, like the ring melting.
Yeah, reach some important resolutions. But like, yeah, I do think it's valid that Mary's going through a lot right now. And she's probably going to this retreat wondering like, well, how do I fit in?
Yeah.
Like, what's it going to be like? I don't even know.
Yeah. It's just like annoying to me that it's taken so long. Like, because she's still talking about that in 2025 with her walls up and
but
stuff.
I just want to offer to you that there are a lot of people in their 40s and 50s who still don't know what the F they are doing.
I get it.
They are still trying to recreate and reinvent their life. They don't know what the next chapter is going to look like. It's not like you graduate into your 30s and have your shit figured out. I just want to warn you.
I know.
That is not going to happen. So like there's a lot of us out here who are of like a higher age but still don't really know what the heck we are doing. So I just feel for Mary a little bit. I feel like how insecure she must feel.
Yeah.
And vulnerable she must feel because she desperately loves Cody. Totally. I don't know why, but she does. And she wants to be a part of the family. She just doesn't know how to make that work.
Well, and I totally get it. I think from my perspective, it's just frustrating to see Mary like struggling for so many years in this family unit that like doesn't want her, like Cody doesn't want her. It's just like, it's not so much like a frustration with Mary per se. It's like a frustration of like, I just want to shake her and like get her out of there and like, oh my God, worthy up already.
Yeah.
Like that's what's so frustrating. And I know I say this all the time and I'm not trying to be super critical on Mary. It's just,
she is pathetic.
Yes.
Like you used that word before and I think you're quite accurate. Like it is pretty pathetic, but at the same time when you add in all of like the religious parts and the actual true love, first love parts and like collab and they got a whole planet and everything. There's like a lot going on.
There is a lot
for Mary.
And the repressed homosexuality. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh God. I didn't say that.
It's my gay conspiracy. Yeah. Oh my God.
We love that though.
But anyway.
Sidebar.
What?
Did you see the picture of Mary that she released? She was on like some red carpet.
So skinny.
Very, very slender.
Yes.
That's what a good divorce will do for you, honey.
Totally.
It'll catapult you into a new sexy era. Now her hair, I'm not going to go there because that's just rude. I'm just going to let her have this moment in the sun. But she looked wonderful.
Yeah.
She seems to be doing great.
She seems to be doing really awesome.
Yes.
With that Alice from Twilight haircut.
Oh
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, exactly.
That's what it is. But you know what? God bless.
Yes. I mean, we were into the choppy layers back in the aughts.
She's
and the
still
early
into that, apparently.
2010s. But I mean, hey, it works for her.
Sure. You know
and
what?
Let's leave it right there.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
And after Pat comes over and talks to the family, then we head over to Sedona, Arizona. We stop at Spirit Quest.
Yeah. Have you been there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is it like a new age crystal shop?
Totally.
I mean,
there's like
I've
a million
been there
of there
as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's so many of those shops in Sedona. It's crazy. But I've been to several of them that they went and visited. But they stop at Spirit Quest. They meet some hippie couple. They go and do a meditation in the Red Rocks, which looks very lovely.
It does, but it is also ruined by Cody and Robin, who get fixated on the ants.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, let the poor man teach you how to meditate.
OMG. It's like not a big deal.
No.
But they're freaking out over the ants crawling over on their legs and stuff. But Janelle and Christine seem to really like the meditation.
Yes.
They really enjoyed it. And then after that, we go back to Nancy and we have the personality test results.
Yes.
Which was very interesting. We have Mary, who is an 8. So I think they did like an Enneagram or something.
Yes.
And so 8 is the reformer, the truth teller. And this is where Nancy calls Mary out for maybe being a little too brutal sometimes with telling the truth. And maybe she's like overwhelmed with the feeling of needing to tell the truth, but tends to repress it for the sake of everybody else. And this is where Mary actually gets emotional and cries a little bit.
Because I think she's victimizing herself because she feels like she cannot speak openly in the way that she wants to. But I think the real gag is that, Mary, you were probably really abusive in your communication for a very long time and that nobody taught you in your childhood how to be kind in your communication and be appropriate in your communication. And so you came into this marriage and you came into the subsequent marriages with Janelle in particular, but also Christine, being this kind of wild card, abusive, say whatever's on your mind, and you really alienated people out here. And so you're in the process right now here in 2014 or whenever this is of trying to figure out how to moderate and regulate your speech so that you can say the thing you want to say without hurting somebody's feelings. And you don't necessarily know how to do that. But that doesn't make you a victim. It makes you somebody who was probably a verbal abuser and who's trying to shift and change that. But it doesn't make you a victim. That's just all I want to say. That's my personal intuition on it.
dang.
That's how I feel about that.
I mean, that's all fair. I mean, I'm just like thinking of it too from the perspective she was in her 20s, and so she probably said some stupid crap. Yeah. And when you're in your 20s and your 30s and even in your 40s probably, you end up a little emotionally unregulated and you say some really stupid stuff. You say it in the worst ways possible because you don't know how to communicate and you don't know how to regulate your crap. And like then you have the fundamentalist religion and all of that shit. So like I understand why she's getting emotional. I don't think she was like trying to victimize herself, but I understand why she was getting emotional because she probably has repressed herself so much now. I mean, she's doing it now, even in 2025, where she can't actually say the things anymore. Like she can't just be like real. Her walls are way up and they're never coming down.
Right.
So I can see how it would be emotional to want to say the things and then feel like you can't. But also I'm like, get some intensive therapy though, and like learn how to communicate.
Not just Christian therapy or Mormon therapy. Like you need to continue with an actual licensed therapist,
right,
to learn how to do this. And I'm just wondering personally what kind of potential trauma she might have experienced in her childhood, because she just strikes me as somebody who probably went through a lot.
Totally. Yeah. And I'm like wondering where she learned her communication style. Like was she talked to like that from her parents?
Somebody was screaming in her household.
Exactly. Yep. And so that's all she learned, but then never learned the right way to talk to people and like the right way to express herself. So she's just repressing it and burying it down. And that's why she ends up sucking on a banana later in her bathtub.
Yes.
You know?
Can we go uncensored for a second?
Sure.
Okay. So back from uncensored. Like I have a lot of compassion for Mary here because she just doesn't know how to land in a spot that works for her.
Yeah.
Like she has a lot to say in this moment, but she's scared to say it because she has demonstrated previously that she doesn't know how to moderate herself. But at the same time, she can see what's going on.
Exactly.
And she knows what's happening in her own relationship with Cody and with these other women. And there's so much there. And that's why she cries.
Yeah.
That's why she's walls up, because she doesn't know what to do with it.
Exactly. Because she knows that if she says anything, it might be the wrong way and then she'll hurt somebody and then it makes a bigger hole for herself and everybody else. And so like I honestly felt for Mary in this episode because of that. Like when she was told that she was the truth teller, I'm like, dang. That's crazy because she is so stuck in the shadow of it because she doesn't really tell the truth even now in 2025. Like she can't just be
She's
real.
Trying though. Can you see that she's trying in her weird way? She's religiously repressed, but she's trying to worthy up. Like she's creating these symbols of what she wants to achieve. Yeah. And she is projecting herself as having already achieved that, but she's really in the process of doing so. Like I feel like that's what she wants. And that's where I can get my compassion for her. And let me just say, by the way, that uncensored section that we just went through, which is very personal. If you want to have access to anything that we say that's uncensored, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/realitytvcringe. That's for the VIP raccoons.
Yep.
Just FYI. But anyway, I feel like she's on this journey of that.
Yeah.
And she's trying to say, I'm already there though, so I can take you with me, which is very MLM of her.
Right.
She's not there though.
Well, and maybe she'll be one of those women that like will start not giving a crap like the older that she gets. Because you know how you talk to some older women like in their 70s who are like, I don't give a shit anymore. Right. And they just say whatever they want and do whatever they want. So I hope she gets to that point, and she probably will. It's just taking a really long time and because of all of those factors, because of maybe her trauma as a kid and growing up in polygamy and then being married to a literal demon, Cody Brown, for 30,000 years. So, like, she'll get there. I hope she does. It's hard to see her go through these parts, though. Like, it's hard to see her in season 6 where she's going through this therapy session and she's like crying but doesn't know how to fully express it, doesn't know how to actually say what she's feeling, and then she's having it all filmed. So it's got that layer of like not really wanting to be personal because you're on camera. Like, it's a lot
and
for Mary
in traditional therapy, like with a monogamist, you'd be there with your husband or your wife.
Exactly, right.
And it would just be you and that person working out your drama.
Right.
But she doesn't really even get to have the spotlight here because, and we see Cody just kind of immediately dismiss her position and immediately dismiss like her traits and her quirks and talk about like how he's in this terrible position because he's got to try and attend to all of his wives and figure out how to have empathy for all
and
these
be patient
women. And like, but she can't even have this moment to be who she is uniquely and have it be witnessed and acknowledged by her husband because he doesn't care about her anymore.
No.
And that's what I think her body is trying to tell her, honestly.
Right.
Her body and her spirit is trying to tell her that Cody doesn't love you anymore, but she cannot let go for all of these other extraneous reasons. And that's what makes this sad. It also makes it sad for Christine, which we don't really talk about. It makes it sad for Janelle. Now, Janelle's a different animal, though. Janelle's like, because the counselor kind of steers it away from Cody after somewhat
calling him out,
correcting him. Because again, as soon as Mary says this about herself and how it feels
to be a truth teller
and like to be in this weird position where she's afraid that she's going to hurt people's feelings by telling the truth, Cody immediately dismisses her and says, well, like, yeah, like for me, it's really hard because all these women have their different problems and I've got to figure out how to manage that and be empathetic. The counselor kind of corrects him.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Corrects him. And then Robin sweeps in to protect him and says that the counselor correcting Cody's dismissal of Mary was aggressive.
Yeah.
Janelle on the couch says, I don't think it was aggressive. I think it was assertive. And that's what we paid for her to do, coming up here to Sedona to be our therapist. And so then the counselor at that point sort of pivots the conversation to the women.
Yes.
And like, where are you with each other? Because Cody's trying to constantly put out there that I don't want to be responsible for these women and their relationships. They have to be responsible for that. And Robin says something like, yeah, we're lazy. Like we don't really spend time with each other. We're like not really managing these relationships. And then we go to Janelle. And Janelle's like, yeah, I'm okay though.
Yeah, I'm fine being separate.
I'm fine to be separate from everybody else. I've got my own stuff going on and I'm obviously committed. I'm here. I'm in the family, but like I don't really need these women to do anything for me, which is funny because last week we thought she was going to be talking about My Sister Wives Closet and that she wanted to separate from that. She's literally talking about the other women.
Oh yeah.
She's like, I don't need you. I don't want you. I'm fine right over here where I am.
And I love that. And
Taurus.
I thought that was totally a response to what Robin was saying, because before that, when Robin was saying that they're lazy with each other, she also said that they're all more focused on their relationships with Cody than they are with each other, and that they're just cordial with each other, especially at family events. Like, they just try to be cordial and nice, which was very interesting that she's calling this out and calling this dynamic out, because the other wives, like even in this episode, you can see they're focused on the family and they're focused on the family unit. And Robin talks about how, no, they're actually just focused on their relationships with Cody, which means Robin's only focused on her relationship with Cody. She doesn't care about her relationships with the other women. So it's interesting that she's planting that seed, but Cody is quick to blame the women for not being connected to each other. Very, very interesting. And then after that very hard, very aggressive, very unsafe conversation with Nancy, everybody goes and takes a walk because Cody needs a break from therapy because he literally says he has to do all of the emotional lifting in this family.
I couldn't believe he said that with his mouth and his words.
I know.
It's like, I'm the one that has to do the emotional heavy lifting in this family. I'm constantly having to do this work. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, they won't even film your individual therapy session with Nancy in your hotel room, but they will with Christine and Mary and Janelle, because your shit's in Robin's room.
Exactly.
And Robin is also outside when they're interviewing her for individual therapy, because you're always with Robin. What sort of emotional heavy lifting are you actually doing? But he believes it.
He does.
He literally believes this about himself, that he's doing all of the hard work. And this is what is embittering him over the years towards these other women. Yes. When in actuality, he's really not.
He's not doing
And I'm
crap.
wondering if it's Robin on the side going, oh my God, they expect you to do this.
I think so.
They expect you to manage their relationship so that they can get along. Why should you have to do this? And Cody's like, you're right. I shouldn't have to do it, because he's dumb.
He is so dumb. And he's hypnotized by the goddess that is Robin Brown.
Okay.
It's so ridiculous. And then it's the next day, and they had other plans to involve all of the women and Cody.
You gotta talk about this.
But Robin is sick. She's nauseous. And so she's staying back in her hotel room.
Right.
Which I think either she's preggo and not saying anything. Or she's faking it because she doesn't want to be dealing with therapy with all of these other women and Cody. But Cody has to because it's the show.
Right.
And he has to be with all the other wives. And so he does this activity with them, and Robin gets to stay back in her hotel room.
Which I just think is really indicative of how she has perceived herself in this family and on this show this entire time, because I don't think she feels like she has to show her life.
Exactly.
She doesn't have to show her room.
Yep.
She doesn't have to show her house. She doesn't have to show anything. And so if I don't want to be there, I don't have to go there, but I'm still going to be collecting these pretty checks.
Yes.
I don't think she's pregnant with Ariella at this point.
Probably not, right?
I think that comes later because I think Solomon's only like 1 or 1.5.
I think so, yeah. But
I think she's just calling off because she doesn't want to do it. And
I know.
don't think she likes therapy. And I don't think she likes to hear Mary and Janelle and Christine talk about their relationships with Cody. I don't think she can handle it.
I don't think so either. I thought it was so interesting
Yeah.
that like it's a marriage retreat, it's therapy, and you can't even show up. You're sitting in your hotel room with room service waiting for Cody to come back.
I really wish I knew what her moon sign was.
I know,
and
right?
what her rising was.
Because she's Libra, right? Libra sun. So
she's
yeah.
Libra. Libra's so chill and awesome. Typically, if they're in balance, like they're typically like really wonderful people.
But the shadow
shadow and also whatever your moon is and your
Yes.
rising. I wish I knew.
Oh my God. Just to have her birth chart would be so great.
Some Gemini in there, girl.
Oh my God.
There's
There
some
has to be.
chaos goblin action going on in her placements.
There has to be.
Yes.
Or water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Repressed water.
Yep.
So much repressed water.
Like a Cancer
fire,
moon or
maybe
something.
too. Some
Oh my God,
fire. I
maybe.
don't know, girl.
I don't know. We're
Something's
just
wrong
guessing.
something's wrong with that woman, though.
Something is wrong with her. But on day 2, they go meet some guy, Joseph White Wolf.
Okay, Joseph White Wolf, Joseph White guy.
Yeah.
Joseph White guy with the grasshopper.
With the grasshopper.
Lord.
Tell him to face their fears.
Right, because when the grasshopper hops away from you, it spins in the air and it lands in a position where it's facing you, meaning you have to face your fears.
So profound, Joseph White Wolf.
Cody's talking about how he really has a lot of latitude and grace for people who have weird beliefs, because he comes from the weirdest belief of them all, which is Mormonism.
Hey.
And I agree.
At least he's aware of that part.
Yes.
But it's interesting how he's calling his religion weird, even in season 6, because he's so quick to defend it, even just last week's episode, in front of all the other people.
I mean, don't the Mormons believe that Jesus visited America and that there were pachyderms in America?
Allegedly.
Were there pachyderms in America?
Allegedly, they believe the Garden of Eden is in Missouri.
Which makes sense. Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
so
God.
it is a weird religion, but then all religions are weird?
Of course.
Yeah.
And then we have Pat leaving the retreat. She's got to go back to Utah. And Mary and Cody cry about it on the couch because she's made such an impact on them. And I think it's because Mary's in love with Pat. Sorry.
I don't think so. But I do think they regard it as an end of an era.
Yeah.
Because they received maybe intensive Mormon therapy from Pat for a series of time, and now she's gone, and they're stuck with Nancy.
Yeah.
It's just Nancy from here on out.
Right.
Yeah.
Which Cody doesn't like.
No.
Because Nancy calls out their crap and calls out his crap specifically. Yes. And then we have the individual counseling sessions with everybody. We start with Janelle, who's telling Nancy that she is committed to the family, but she's also changed as a person.
Hi.
I mean,
that's what you're supposed to do.
And she's also looking fab in Sedona. Can I just say?
She looks great. She looks very pretty.
Fantastic.
There are some times when the light catches her face and her eyes kind of light up. I'm like, you are ethereal.
Yes.
You are goddess energy and vibes.
And this is where I can see where maybe Cody really likes
Las Vegas Renaissance, her sexual renaissance.
He's been banging her back out.
She also says that she's not into this whole mission statement thing because it's just drama.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's the drama though?
I know. Why?
I mean, I know it's
drama.
I know it's like tedious because Christine's in charge
and
she can't keep it together, and you got all the kids trying to figure out what the mission statement is. But where's the drama in the mission statement? That's what I wondered.
Maybe with Robin. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I can't imagine she's calling Christine out for drama, but maybe she is. Maybe that's a side, like a little shade there to Christine. Like, oh my God, why do we have to do this mission statement? It's stupid.
And I agree.
I mean, yeah.
I am Janelle in this moment. I'm like, why do we have to do this? We just got into our house. Like, let me nest a little bit. I don't want to Do your dumb project, Christine.
Right, I don't care about it.
Drama.
She also talks about how she doesn't relate to Mary and Robin and how she's still kind of trying to work out her relationship with Mary, which is interesting because they don't actually work anything out.
Subtext.
Yeah.
It's like the big issue here. I think this is why Mary is crying. I think this is why Mary is afraid to speak her whole truth.
Yeah.
I think this is why Janelle is separated on the couch and is fine to do so because there's something that is continuing to brew between these two women specifically.
Totally.
And then Christine just agitates it.
Oh, 100% with that Aries energy. Oh my God.
She sides with Janelle too.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And Janelle was probably the brunt of Mary's BS communication.
100%. Yes.
So, yeah. And then we have Mary who talks about how she struggles with communication and struggles with trusting that the wives actually want to work things out with her.
Can we just drill down into that? Because that was a very obscure and interesting comment. She's like, well, I want to show up and I want to work on this, but I'm just not trusting that the other women actually really want to do that.
And like, who is she talking about?
What is she really saying here? Like,
right.
Is this real?
I know.
Are we like here doing therapy because we really want to go somewhere with this? Because I don't want to be vulnerable in this moment if all you're doing is performing everybody else. That's what I got.
So like she's talking about everybody.
Yes.
Then, not just like one or two wives.
Yes.
You think she's also referring to Robin too?
I think she also might be referring to Cody. Like, Cody, are you serious about you and I? Like, are you serious about our relationship?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if I want to really lay it all out there, show all of these parts of myself, if what you're really doing is collecting a check from TLC.
Maybe that is what she's really saying. Because, I mean, this is all on camera, and like Cody and Robin don't seem into it at all. They don't even seem to like Nancy.
They seem resistant to it.
Yep. And so I don't know if they follow up with Nancy. And like, maybe Mary is also saying she wants to continue in therapy, but like, it's not in the family budget, not in the family priority. And like she wants to do therapy with Cody, but he is so resistant to it. So maybe that's what she's saying. That's an interesting theory. And then we have Cody out on the patio of Robin's hotel room.
Exactly.
Talking to Nancy about how he's concerned that the wives don't want to work out anything with each other and that he hopes the mission statement will be some sort of pathway to recommitment. And this is kind of like the opening of the recommitment ceremony.
Like, what are you say words I care about? I don't care about anything that you're saying, dummy.
And this is like a narc trying to do therapy where it's all surface level.
Exactly. And that's why you can't therapize a narc.
Exactly.
They're not really showing up authentically in the moment.
And then we have Robin on the patio of her hotel room with Cody in the other room talking to Nancy. And Nancy asks,
undressed.
Yeah.
Pants around his ankles. Yeah. Lacy bra and panty sets. La Perla. No, probably not Victoria's Secret.
Totally.
For sure, Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
Just waiting for this to wrap up.
Oh my God. So
get back
to banging.
Bring your dildo. Yeah. I'm ready to get pegged in Sedona, baby. Yeah.
My God.
Sorry.
Ew.
I apologize.
Well, Nancy asks Robin some kind of question of like, well, what do you want? Like, what do you want out of therapy?
Sure.
And Robin comes up with this really weird answer where she talks about, well, I've lived monogamy before. I chose to live polygamy, and I just like worry that we're going to disconnect from each other even in the cul-de-sac. And that's like my biggest fear, that we're going to disconnect from each other. Which is just like interesting.
That is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's exactly what ends up happening.
Right. And I wondered in this moment if she meant it, because I kind of felt like she did. It's like she's of two minds, like a typical Libra. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like she is wanting this idea of what it would look like to have this big family and be an integrated part of the fabric of this family. But at the same time, she wants this man all for herself.
Exactly.
And she wants this man all for her kids and her kids alone. Like, she does not know how to deal with that.
See, and I felt like she was saying this just for the cameras because she wants the audience, especially at this time, to think that she cares about the family. She cares about these wives that she just called lazy just a few minutes ago and said that she is just cordial with them because her actual priority is Cody. But now she's saying to the camera and everybody else, like, I'm worried that we're going to disconnect as a family. That's like my biggest fear. It's not, though. because you are prioritizing your relationship with Cody and you are allowing him to like use all of his time at your house and not be with the other wives, because you secretly love that. You love the fact that he is prioritizing you and not any of the other women. So that's why I'm like, that's totally of the two minds thing. Like, she wants everybody
she loves
to
the
think
idea of it, but she does not want to work for it at all.
Exactly.
And she does not want to share. And it is showing up right now. I think it has started to truly show up in Vegas during the rentals, where Cody has started to prefer her and spend more time with her.
Yep.
There was that weird little comment she made a couple of episodes ago where like, well, when we're in our cul-de-sac, we can look at our window and we can see what's going on and exactly where Cody is. And she's really telling on herself there. Like, they can see me and how much time I'm spending with Cody, because she is. So it's already beginning. And that's why I think we have Mary in tears. That's why I think we have Janelle detaching and just like, I don't give a shit, actually. Whatever. Just pay me my money. I'm in my big mansion. It's fine.
Exactly.
And that's why we have Christine like not really knowing where she fits in the family as well. Because I think at this point, Christine does want to be close to Cody.
Of course,
She does want to still have that kind of relationship, but she can desperately feel how she is losing her footing, how Robin is supplanting all of the wives and their relationships. Like, she can see it and she knows it, but she can't say it, at least not on camera, not for the show.
Exactly. And Christine is so focused on this mission statement because I think she wants to communicate to Cody, like, no, I do care about the family and I care about my relationships with the sister wives and I want this to work because, like I say in the title screen, I didn't want just the man, I wanted the family and I care about this. So she's like trying to communicate that to Cody. Because Cody is saying that to the therapist and saying that to the other wives. Like, I want you guys to be focused on the family. I want you to be focused on each other. I can't be the common denominator. Christine is communicating that, and she is doing that, but it's proving to be not enough.
It's not enough.
Because she doesn't got that breakdance in Punani.
Nope. She ain't wearing the diesel jeans, honey.
No, she ain't. And then we get to the most interesting part of the episode for me, in my opinion.
Yes.
The part where they're in the circle together, and Nancy wants them all to position themselves in how they relate to their closeness to Cody, or like how they think that they are close to Cody.
It's not really clear, actually, because I rewound it a couple of times. I'm like, are we trying to position ourselves in the orbit around Cody, or are we like positioning ourselves around each other? Like, what are we doing here? It wasn't clear, but at the end of the day, it ends up being that the women are positioning themselves according to their perceived closeness to Cody.
Yes.
And we have Robin right up next to him.
Holding his hand.
And then grabbing Mary's hand. Truly and literally, the bridge between Mary and Cody was actually accurate.
Yes.
It's accurate. She's like, I'm the bridge between you and Cody, because without me, you would have nothing, bitch. And don't ever forget it.
Exactly.
Do not ever forget it. And then Janelle's like, I'm just going to stand over here, though.
Yep, on the side.
I'm going to stand all the way over here. And then Christine initially goes to stand by Janelle. And then she's like, you know what? No, let me go stand behind Cody.
Yeah.
And then she turns away from him. So they're back to back.
Yep.
What did you make of that?
I mean, that she feels like they're on two different playing fields. Like, they're not even looking at each other.
She's in the basement.
Totally. She is the least favorite. I mean, you even see that kind of echoed at the very beginning when he gives her the necklace. Like, she's the last one. He gives it to Mary, to Janelle, then to Robin, and then Christine's last. And she's the worst necklace. You know what I mean?
The
like,
Phoenix is objectively the worst.
They're all bad.
Yeah, they're bad.
But like, you know, it's kind of already being communicated passively that Christine's the least favorite now. He don't like her. And he's also surprised that Christine feels so disconnected and far away from him. He's like, really? That's how you feel? As he's holding Robin's hand. It's crazy. And Robin said something at the beginning like, this isn't safe. I don't know if this is safe for us to do right now, because she knows. Like, you have to know, Robin, that you're the favorite.
She knows.
He probably tells you that all the time.
By now she knows. And now we know that she knows.
Exactly. So miss me with this whole, you're so clueless. You don't know how all the other women feel. Like, come on.
And honestly, like, let's be real with the timeline, because even though this is season 6, it's only been like 2 to 3 years since Robin's been with his family. It has not been a long time. And in that time, she has risen in the stratosphere to be the closest wife to Cody. And all the other wives know this.
Yep.
At least Janelle doesn't care that much, but I think Mary cares. I think Christine cares.
Yep.
And I think this is kind of the origin story of Mary and Robin, because Mary needs Robin in order to have any standing whatsoever with Cody. And it gets critical when the catfish happens, because there's the redemption, there's the forgiveness, there's the staying married part, which Robin facilitates to some degree.
Yep.
Like without Robin, there is no Mary. Mary is gone, honey.
Yep.
Mary's moving on out of this family.
And it's like so sad that Mary is kind of accepting it, even in this moment, because I think Mary was like at first confused of where she was going to place herself in relation to Cody. And then Robin is the one that's like, well, here, how about this? I'll hold Cody's hand. You hold my hand. Does that feel good? Like she literally asks Mary if that's okay.
And can I just tell you how bad that would feel if I'm the legal wife? I am the first wife. I married this man at 19 years old, and here I stand at 43 years old, and I need this little chippy to grab my hand and say, look, I'll be the bridge between you. Like that would feel so disempowering and disenfranchising to me. Like, who the F do you think you are, lady?
Straight up.
Like, this is my life. This is my husband that I've had for 2-3 decades.
Yep.
Yeah.
And because Mary is the truth teller, she's feeling all of that, but can't communicate it.
Right.
And can't say it. And even like Janelle and Christine are feeling it too, because you have to be dumb to look at how this is set up and like see how Robin is holding Cody's hand. Like she's constantly touching him and constantly pulling him to her side.
The entire time during therapy, she was sitting next to him. She was right next to him the whole time.
Yes, like it's obvious. And like after they position themselves and how they feel towards Cody, then it changes to, okay, well, how do you want to feel? Like where would you like to be placed? And Robin doesn't move. Mary doesn't move. She? I mean, right. She's already the closest one. She's holding his hand.
Well, there's a weird conversation that happens between Cody and Mary here where Mary's like, well, but I'm different from all of you, because Christine says something like, well, I have a bond with Janelle because we both have kids and they grew up with each other. And then Mary says, yeah, but I'm different because I have Leon and Leon's leaving. And so I'm in this weird position. And it was a great opportunity in that moment for Mary to actually share to the group how she feels.
Yep.
Because she doesn't know where she stands with everybody. But Cody kind of sweeps in and says, well, but like, it's your responsibility. Like, you have these relationships with these women and like, that's your thing. And she's like, well, I know. I do have relationships. And he's like, are they good?
Some of them.
She's like, some of them are good.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So what are you really saying here, Cody? I feel like Cody's trying to shine a light on Mary's behavior.
Right.
With maybe Janelle and maybe Christine. It can't be with Robin.
No, because
Mary's
they're friends.
Friends with Robin.
Yep.
So I'm wondering what Cody's trying to do in this moment. Why he can't just let Mary have this.
No, and he's like trying to blame her for the destruction between the relationships with the sister wives.
That's what I got.
And that's what was interesting, because in season 16, 17, 18, 19, he's blaming Janelle and Christine for that as well. So like he's blaming all three of them, but in this moment in season 6, it seems like the spotlight is mainly on Mary. Like Mary's the problem.
I feel like Mary's the problem though, because like I think in seasons 15, 16, when they go to therapy again and they're sitting down, it's after the catfish, it's before COVID. He's like, but you lied to me though. You told me you were somebody that you were not. And we never learned what exactly that was about. And we've learned now in season 19 that he made a list for her. Like, you've got to do all of these things in order to gain back my good favor.
Yeah.
Like, there's something here that we're not actually talking about. And in this moment, there's something that Cody's accusing Mary of.
Right.
Like, yeah, but do you have good relationships with them, though? Because you don't, right? And she's like, well, some of them I do. I'm like, okay, what's happening?
There's probably a couple things going on here. Like maybe Mary is at fault for some of the destruction of these relationships.
Indeed.
But like maybe she's also the scapegoat right now with Cody. Like, because there's always a golden and there's always a scapegoat.
Right.
And so maybe Mary is kind of the scapegoat right now. And then also Christine and Janelle become that too. And Robin's, of course, the golden.
Of course.
The golden goose
forever
over here.
golden.
Yes, because she's the Phoenix Rising.
Yeah.
But it was just really interesting and so awkward. This whole like moving sculpture thing. And I just couldn't take my eyes off of Robin holding Cody's hand the entire time. The other women had to have seen that and felt like, wow, like I can't even feel like I can hold his hand right here. I don't even feel close to him. And when they position themselves in how they want to be in relation to Cody, Janelle wants to be right in front of him. And then Christine is right next to Janelle, right in front of him. But she's also kind of like turned towards Robin in a way, like almost kind of like she's trying to block Robin from Cody, which was interesting. And Mary's still off on the sideline. I don't know. It was just very interesting, very symbolic. And then they put their foreheads together because that's how they want to be connected. Oh, and Cody doesn't want to be the common denominator, and I don't care.
Well, he doesn't want to be in the center of the circle.
Which is so weird.
But you signed up for exactly that, though.
Hello.
It's like, I know you don't want to have to do this emotional heavy lifting that you say that you constantly do, which you actually do not do. But that is like what you signed up for in a polygamous marriage. You are the anchor. You are the roots to this entire family. Like, and if you didn't want that, you should not have done this.
Right.
You cannot now abdicate your responsibility to all these other women that don't even know where they really stand with you because you are not clear. You're not a good patriarch. You're not a good husband. You're not a good father. Go ahead. No.
I was going to say, I can understand where he was saying like he wants the family to survive even after he dies.
Yes.
Like I can understand he wants the women to get along because they are the family. They created the family. They have all the kids and stuff. Like, so they do have to kind of like cohabitate and get along. But the thing is that Cody is at the root of that, because if they all had a good relationship with Cody, they would be all able to get along with each other. But because it's all unequal, there's the jealousy and the insecurity and all of these things.
And
that
where's
he does
the
have to
money
contend
going?
with.
And how are we paying Logan's college? And how are we going to pay for Leon? Like nobody knows what's going on.
And that's what's like missing in Cody's head is that you are the common denominator, dude. Like you do have to have good relationships with all the wives so they can have good relationships with each other. But it's Cody Brown. So he's never gonna learn that.
It was so good. Like you could really see it so clear.
So
everything that was dysfunctional and problematic in this relationship. And it was also so wild to see how none of them really could see that at all.
It was crazy.
Yeah. I was like, wow, Janelle, you're standing right in front of Cody.
Right.
This is where you want to be, is right in front of Cody. But like, wow. And, and at the end of the day, like you never were. And you walk away with almost nothing.
Almost nothing. Yep.
For as strong as you are in this moment with all of your opinions.
Which is crazy. And maybe that's why they had their renaissance, because that kept her at bay. Maybe she thought like she had some kind of power or some kind of place in the family for a while. And
I think she wanted it. Like
totally,
I think there's a valid part of her that really wants this. She does in this moment, season 6, believe in it.
Yeah.
But this is going to start to wane.
Oh,
She's going to start to get really disillusioned with how everything is working out. Honey, by the time we get to Flagstaff, she's like, deuces. I choose my kids.
F you.
Yep.
Bye, Cody.
Rightly so.
Which is so great. It's nice to see at least Janelle's arc throughout all of this.
And we know that in good faith, she was there. It's not like she was just sticking there for like the money or the cul-de-sac or whatever. Like in good faith was she there. But like, Cody, you blew it, honey. Oh, and I just want to stand 10 toes down in my statement that she's the one that got away for Cody.
Oh, totally.
I mean, out of all of the women, she is of the highest value in my opinion.
Agreed.
Like in across the board in every single way, high value woman. And she walked away from, she didn't even tell you she was leaving. She's like, I'm just going, honey. I don't need to tell you anything. Ooh, how that must have cut him.
Oh, totally.
God, so well done, Janelle.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yes, I loved it. And then we have the last day in Sedona. We're at a rooftop.
Yeah.
We're drawing on some chalk blocks.
Are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
About their family mission statement words. And they put it all together. And you see how Robin's like so not into it and off on the sideline because she doesn't trust Nancy.
Okay.
Because she's a monogamist.
All right.
She doesn't understand polygamy. And then they do their mission statement thing. Christina's so happy because this is all she wanted.
Why?
I don't know.
Who cares?
Janelle and Mary have like a little argument over the arrangement of the blocks.
Right.
And Janelle feels empowered because she shared her opinion about the arrangement of the blocks because that was such a big deal to her.
But maybe it is a big deal for her to stand up to Mary. Mary wants it to be symmetrical and an actual cube. And Janelle's like, I don't give a crap about that. It can be all chaotic and I stand on that. And Mary's like, okay, God. Maybe for Janelle that was an empowering moment.
Maybe. Hey, whatever. And then they take their photo with all their feet in there, and that's gross. And
it is gross. I find that gross.
Like, we don't need to have our feet
No.
in this photo, but whatever. And then they end the episode talking about how they're going to have a recommitment ceremony with this mission statement, which I think they do.
Well, they do, but they're talking about like how this mission statement is a building block towards a recommitment ceremony. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. Talk about all the other stuff. We don't need a ceremony.
This must be like a cursed thing for TLC. Like all these families that do these recommitment ceremonies break up. Like the Goslings. Did the same thing.
Yeah, I know. And I think at the end of this season, which by the way, next episode's a tell-all.
Yeah, but then we have extra episodes.
And then we have like a whole nother season, which is classified as still season 6, which ends with the commitment ceremony. Like,
it's so much.
I'm snoring, honey. I'm tired. It's a lot.
Thank God we have season 19. This weekend coming back.
Yes.
That'll be interesting.
Yes.
Maybe.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
We'll see what happens. We're definitely going to be back for that. And we hope that you're going to be joining us.
Yeah.
Now, is there anything else that we need to say to these beautiful raccoons? I can't believe how long we've been talking.
We have been talking a lot. This was a good episode.
It was. There was so many layers.
There was so much
trash
in
a dumpster.
Yep.
But is there anything else that we need to say before we get out of here, Bridget?
Well, if you love our podcast, please go to your favorite podcast platform and leave us a glowing 5-star review. It really helps us grow the pod so more people can join us in the dumpster, and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We will be back next week to get back into season 19 and all the chaos that comes with that. So make sure you come back for that. Until then, please do not forget that we have nothing but love for you and peace.